The world is obsessed with more. It's easy to forget the beauty of less. A simple life equals freedom. It frees you from the chase. It frees you from comparison. It frees you from an endless race. The more you own, the more that owns you. Do not let the noise of the world drown out the beauty of a simple life. Welcome back to another episode of Make It to Midnight. This is episode 21. I'm your host, JP Hovey. Shout out to every single person that is listening. If you're new, I can always give a little bit of a brief breakdown of who I am and what this page is for, and I keep it quick. Just like these episodes, I'm aiming for 15 to 25-ish minutes. Something you can listen to on the ride home from work, the ride to work, maybe at night when you're winding down, something to lift you up, something to help you make it to midnight. That is the goal of this whole show, to provide some positive light in a world that tries to put out a whole lot of darkness. So we're out here, we're trying to help people make it to midnight through stories, through quotes, through thoughts throughout the week that I have, through anything you can imagine, anything positive, anything that even sometimes stuff's hard. Those are all the things I want to share. And yeah, we're all in this together. So I'm JP Hovey. I'm located in Nashville, Tennessee, 29 years old, and this is Make It to Midnight. And today, I'm excited about this episode because it's an idea that I've been obsessed with for a decent amount of time now. And well, I say a decent amount of time. I've truly tried to implement this into my life in the last 3 to 4 weeks. But this episode is titled Why I'm Striving for a Simple Life, or The Importance of a Simple Life. And over the last 3-4 weeks, I've fully bought in, because you hear all of these different quotes and everything, and they just sound like another quote in one ear, out the next. But recently, with all of the chaos that's been going on, or stresses of life, and maybe even just as I'm getting older, I've been trying to find peace in everyday moments, because very rarely luckily I do have a job that I do love, but there's parts of my job I don't like. There's parts of life that get annoying, and I'm just trying to become more simple-minded, and where that starts with is gratitude. But the thing that really that triggered it for me was Chris Williamson. He read this quote. He hosts podcast Modern Wisdom. They just dropped an episode with Matthew McConaughey, which you should definitely check out, because he has one of the best McConaughey has one of the best definitions of why you should strive to be a good man and not a nice guy. But that's a conversation for another time. But the quote was this: "I have not yet grown wise enough to enjoy simple things." And I love it. And I heard it, and it struck a heart chord with me. And I decided that's the level of wisdom that I want to achieve. But it's hard, right? It's countercultural, because growing up, even when you're a kid, you want stuff, and it's more wholesome when you're a kid. But you see it on TV. People with big houses, big TVs, they got MTV Cribs go on when we're kids. So you're seeing these mansions, nice cars, people eating at fancy restaurants, all of these things. Kids at school, the popular kids at school, having the nice clothes. Their parents have the nice car. It seems like this endless pursuit of more and just stuff. And that's why I love in the beginning of that was, the more you own, the more that owns you. I promise. And that it shows the power in giving things away, and not just materialistic things, time as well. But I heard that quote. I decided it's something I want to achieve. And I think it's extremely important to try to strive to achieve that now, when all of these things are accessible to us. Food is easily accessible. Electronics are easily accessible. Information is easily accessible. False information is easily accessible. Say easily accessible 10 times fast, and you really try to break your brain there. We're led to believe that those things are going to make us happy, when really it's the opposite. Falling in love with those things is the opposite of wise. It is foolish. Time and time again, you see people that have all those things fail, crash out, and burn. And I wonder why. Because even though you have a lot of things, it's empty and it owns you, and there's always going to be a newer version. There's always going to be a new iPhone. There's always going to be a new car. There's always going to be a new something. And that is why it's so important not to get caught up in it. So what have I been doing to try and achieve this type of peace? All of the things that I'm doing are definitely things that you guys can also be doing. And again, this is not a life coaching podcast. This is me sharing about my life, hoping it helps in yours. because some of the things I'm doing, I don't even know if they're going to work. This one in particular has worked, but there's been plenty of things I've tried and I've heard somebody say to do that hasn't worked for me. So I don't want that. I don't want this podcast to come across as a, hey, you do this, because I'm trying to figure it out too, just like anybody that listens to this. But some of the things that I found, and the number one thing that it has helped me, is the consistency of doing these things. And it's funny because we're 21 episodes into this, and I feel like consistency is the number one thing I talk about in every single episode. When growing up, it's the number one thing my dad is preaching to me. It's the number one thing coach has preached to you. But for me, it hasn't resonated until recently. And if I had the mindset that I have now, or work ethic I have now, I've always been a hard worker, but say when it came to sports, I probably would have got a D1 scholarship, but I was all over the place in high school doing a million other things. And I didn't really understand the consistency of it all, and what it could really lead you to, the joy it could lead you to, the successes that it could lead you to, the peace of mind, the peace in your heart that it could lead you to. But consistency with these things has really helped me. But what are the things? Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, I've been searching for this peace, and I have found traces of it. I feel it when I go for a walk and don't put my headphones in and say hey to somebody in passing and receive a smile back. I feel it when I go to the YMCA and I introduce myself to someone who flashes a smile or head nod towards me, and we engage in conversation. I feel it again when I see that person the next day and we get to start off on a new foot with a new foundation of a friendship. I feel it when I see a family in my neighborhood playing in the street, and then I'm talking with the 3 boys, hearing them make the case for who is the fastest. Sometimes I feel it with the content I consume, and that is why I cannot stress enough how important it is to pay attention to the feelings that arise in you when you're scrolling your phone. I've been through all of the highs and lows of the algorithm. I've had all of the horrible things come up on my Twitter, TikTok, and I've had all the good things. Recently, I've been consistently seeing all of these good things in my algorithm, and those are the things that we consume are the things that we carry. And what we carry is what we're going to give. And so if you're consuming all of this bad content, you're carrying all of these all just kind of negative emotions, negative thoughts, worst case scenario type thoughts. And then when you're going into the workplace, when you're going into friendships, when you're going into whatever, you're having this dark cloud over you because of the things you've been consuming. And look, social media is here to stay. And I cannot stress enough, if you take only one thing from any of these episodes I ever do, even if I ever reach 1,000 episodes, or when I reach 1,000 episodes, this is the number one thing. Be intentional about what you're consuming, because social media is not going anywhere. We don't have control over that. What we do have control over is what we're consuming. And your life will significantly change and improve if you are consuming these positive things. My whole algorithm now, or for the last 3 to 4 weeks, has been long form podcast interview clips where people are talking about mindset, talking about peace, talking about the simple life, talking about all these things that I'm into. Funny videos of little kids talking back to their parents in funny ways, pranks, dog videos, poems, swipe graphics of inspirational quotes, all of these things. And I notice a change in myself, because prior to that, maybe 6 months ago or a year ago, I'm carrying these other things with me into work. I'm feeling like nothing is ever going to go right. I'm feeling like, what's the point? Because everything is going wrong everywhere else. And I'm dejected and I'm feeling negative. But if you switch that algorithm, I promise you it's going to help you in your life. I mentioned these 3 kids in the neighborhood as I was reading what I wrote down earlier. It's something about you can learn. I feel like the people that we learn most from are kids and like grandparents. And it's 2 different kinds of wisdom. But both just resonate extremely well. And these kids, I don't know their names. I've really only seen them 3 to 4 times. I try to make a point, walk by, because the family's awesome. The mom and dad seem awesome. The kids are super outgoing, but they all have to be under the age of 7 or 8. And they're so talkative when you come up to them. And the last time, and I mentioned it just then, is they're talking about who's fastest. And the older brother is fastest, but the middle brother, you can kind of tell he might have some extra juice to him. His time might be coming. But it's that small interaction where I'm talking with them and you just forget about all these other things going on, and it's the human connection and human relationships will never be able to be replaced by AI, no matter how advanced technology goes. Because there are things, again, that book that I was reading the other week, When Breath Becomes Air, there are things in the human brain that cannot be traced, or there are emotions that cannot be traced back to the human brain. And if it's not in the human brain, AI is artificial intelligence. It's having to come from somewhere. It's not just made up. Everything that AI is learning from humans. Humans don't even know where we've learned these emotions of love, of compassion, of all of the virtues that make up a whole life. AI will never be able to replicate, no matter the technology. So it's important. It's important to engage in those conversations. It's important to take the headphones out when you're walking. The amount of smiles or just quick conversations I've had on the Greenway in Nashville over the last couple of weeks is insane. And I'm telling you, I don't have scientific terms for these things, but I leave feeling better. And it's not hard. It's truly unplugging. You hear it all the time, unplug, but it works, man. But when you're not unplugged and you are scrolling, this is a great example of something that centered me back to a place of gratitude. And think about your content when you are swiping. Is it centering you or helping you get closer to the person that you want to be? This video was. So this is one of the most incredible stories I've heard. I tried to do some more digging. I went to their website, but the most in-depth information I was able to get on it was through this TikTok. And it was this guy named Sam. And Sam is in Africa, and he grew up in slavery. It's very popular in one of these coastal countries where they're kidnapping kids and they're making them fish around 18 to 20 hours a day sometimes. And, minimum food, no education. They've been kidnapped. They just work all day. And Sam was one of these kids, but he was rescued. Now he's an adult. He has a whole foundation, a whole group that goes and saves these kids, that rescues them from slavery, brings them to his, facilities where the kids now have the opportunity to learn. They're in school. They're getting love. They're getting food. They're getting water. They're getting to live a normal life. And these kids could not be more grateful. And I say they're getting to live a more normal life, but these are still places with, minimal flooring, pretty poor infrastructure, but the smiles could not be bigger. And it moved me. I'm like, man, this guy, he grew up in slavery and decides, you know what, I'm going to risk my life again, go back into these places, save kids from slavery and fix it. And I'm watching this video, and it brings me to gratitude. So that when I am out in my neighborhood walking around, when I'm on the Greenway, when I'm at the YMCA, when I'm able to do all of these everyday things, that's in the back of my head of like, man, it's a luxury to be able to go on this 3-mile walk right now. There's kids in another country, which nowadays a plane ride away, that are in slavery and working 18 hours a day. This is a luxury that I can drive a car to go to the gym. This is a luxury that there's a McDonald's down the street and there is a meal for $3. There's so many luxuries, and we take it all for granted so much. And if you are able to put these things in your brain, put these things on your screen that reminds you, your life gets that much richer. And it's awesome because it gets richer not by gaining anything physically. It gets richer from realizing that you don't need anything. Less is more in this situation. And it just, it opened my eyes to the gratitude of the simple things in life, and especially in our country. Life is simple, which I think I was talking about this on the last one, or maybe not. Maybe it was just another thing I heard of, or I think I was even just thinking about it, where, it was from a movie with Miles Teller, and it's a true story. This boxer got in a horrible car accident where he broke his neck and spine, and there's, probably not going to be able to walk again, definitely not going to be able to box again somehow or another he gets through it. But he's doing an interview and the person asks him,
What was the biggest lie you told?
It's not that simple.
Why not?
No, that's the biggest lie I was ever told. It's not that simple. And it's a lie they tell you over and over again.
What's not simple?
Any of it. All of it. It's how they get you to give up. You say it's not that simple, Vinny.
So what's the truth?
That it is. That if you just do the thing that they tell you you can't, then it's done. And you realize it is that simple. That it always was.
it's true, right? Life is that simple. You just have to figure out what it is exactly you want. The more specific you can get, the smoother, not smoother, the more clear the path becomes. Because I've said it a few episodes ago, there's somebody out there that came from a worse situation than you and has achieved more, which means the only difference between you and that person is the work that got put in. That doesn't mean the work is easy. Just because life's simple does not mean life is easy, but it is simple. If you work 100 times harder than somebody who's working the average rate, you're going to get more out of it. It might not happen in the timeline you want, but it will happen. And I used to convince myself that this was not true and that you do need the lucky breaks, which you do. Like, you do need the relationships, but you're putting yourself in a position every single day by not making the excuse of, oh, I just need this. Like, it's not that simple. It's actually more complicated than this. It's all a lie. It is simple, but simple does not mean it's not hard. So I do not want to get that confused with anything. Simple does not mean easy. Do simple better. That's what Dan Lanning says. That's what all the greats say. Do simple better. And that's exactly what we need to do in our life. And you will be enriched by it. Think about it. Carry that do simple better into these simple things in your life. Like me going on these walks at the Greenway. Do it better. How do I do it better? Take out the headphones. Say hey to at least 2 people. Going to the gym. How do I do it better? Engage with the workers there. Build a relationship with them. Do simple better. It's it's crazy because it's so simple. Simple is the key to life, apparently. But there's a few other things that I want to share before we wrap up. And yes, we are almost done. That's the beauty of Make It to Midnight. This was just a compilation of different things that I saw on my feeds that I want to share with you. And I've kind of combined some of them together. Some of them were quotes. Some of them were poems. Some of them was just somebody reading it, and I don't know where it came from. But the first one is Ralph Waldo Emerson, and then the next things are just my summarizations of what I was hearing in my algorithm. This is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. To know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to know you have succeeded. And that's perfect for this simple themed episode. Because a lot of times we think we have to go big, we have to, impact the whole world, we have to be rich in order to do something, we have to have all of this access, have a massive platform, but it's not true. It's way more simple than that. Did you impact one person positively? Then your life was worth living. And obviously, once you do it once, you're going to want to do it again. And that's not to say we haven't all negatively impacted people. And it's going to happen. We're going to fail. We're going to mess up. I mess up. I have things that haunt me all the time that I hope I have forgiveness for from these people. But I can't wallow in it. I have to keep trying to become the best version of myself because I owe it to my past mistakes to become the best version of myself. The next things are this. Someday you'll realize that the life you thought you wanted is far different than the life that will actually make your soul come to life. Someday you'll realize that your picture of what you want is really just a reflection of what the world told you to want, and that there is actually so much more out there for you. Life is about the little moments that feel like magic, the simplest of seconds that make you smile, the conversations that make you believe in kindness and compassion, The genuine experiences that fill your heart with joy. It's about the quiet contentment found in a familiar routine or the unexpected delight of a shared laugh with a stranger. Moments of peace and stillness that prove the beauty of the world. Small moments woven together create the life that we live. So do simple better. And to wrap it up, one last quote for you. It's this: intelligence is taking something complicated and making it simple. Ignorance is taking something simple and making it complicated. Simplify things, simplify your life, do simple better. Thank you for being here for another episode of Make It to Midnight. I was excited to do this episode because of the changes I've seen in my life since I've been pursuing more simple things and doing simple better. I hope you can use this going into your weekend, going into your week, whenever this episode finds you. I hope it helps you. I hope it can place that gratitude in your head. The best place to start, gratitude and consistency, and switch those algorithms. So thanks again for being here. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not. We have short form content that goes out almost every day. Long term, I try to do once a week. If not, it's every other week. And yeah, I appreciate you guys, and keep going. Please keep going. Please keep making it to midnight. Once you get to midnight, you got another 24 hours and you have more opportunities. So keep going. We need you here. Thanks for being here, and keep making it to midnight. Again, how many times I said make it to midnight? See you guys next week.